Hey everybody, it's Moonbo here, and welcome back to more Endless Scrap Mechanic. In today's episode of Scrap Mechanic Creations, that is right guys, it has been a while, we are chilling out on Planet Hoth, because if you look over here, we have ourselves some AT-AT walkers from Star Wars. These things are absolutely fantastic, and you are seeing exactly what you are believing here. There are 4 of them spawned, and I am getting full FPS. These things are extremely efficient. They took me they took me so many hours to get walking, guys, so definitely, if you guys enjoy these builds, then maybe hit the like button, let me know, because these things were a challenge, and I think there is still room for improvement on them as well. But we're going to be checking them out, we're going to talk about the challenges, we're going to walk around with them and stuff like that. They're absolutely fun, and I'll talk a little bit about how they work. So, let's get right into the episode. Alright, so here we are at the feet of one of these bad boys. Now look at the size of this thing. I think it's rather large, and I'm almost inclined to say that this is like the biggest walker I have ever seen in Scrap Mechanic. I don't know if I've seen anybody make one as big as this, but it is extremely lag-free, and that is my favorite part. I was able to spawn 4 of them here. I think I spawned a 5th, but then I started to see a little bit of drop. But look at this thing, guys. So as you can see, this is the starting position of the AT-AT walker. All of the controllers have been set. I'll be looking at that in a moment. But let's grab the connection tool here and talk a little bit about what's going on as far as all these connections are. So you'll notice the first thing here is there are some floating circles. Now that is using the invisible mod pack, so I don't know how much these really help in stability, but basically it's a bunch of invisible timers that stick out all the way to about right here, so that way it gives it a little bit of tip control and you're not always falling over, because the walking isn't 100% perfect in here. Another thing you're going to notice is on the bottom here we have some thrusters and a logic block, so that's all connected together to leave these thrusters on permanently, and that actually helps the controllers lift all of the limbs, so it's a very useful thing to have. And obviously you can see we have controllers hooked up to multiple joints. Now, I built a good portion of this AT-AT walker in a live stream, so if you guys were there, let me know in the comments. It was a lot of fun, but there was something that was very important to some people in the chat, and I made sure to do it, because actually, without this function, it just doesn't work. So if you look up over here, there is an extra hinge, so after the stream was done, what we were left with was only 3 connection points here, so the bearings right there, and right there. And then let me mention, doubled up bearings like this are really annoying, because sometimes the way you weld them together can cause a lot of issues, but I tried my best. So you can see though, we have an extra hinge right up here, and that is really like the signature feature of the AT-AT walker. So one thing we can do to get in though is we can go right here to this seat like so. Now I did add a really cool thing right here, so you can actually get into a seat. It's kind of hidden, and you can press the 1 key, and there we go, look at that. You can actually lower yourself down from the inside of it right there. And I mean, you could probably just jump up on the foot like this to get on, but I did put a seat right there, as you can see, so that we could get in like that and slide right in. Woo! Alright, so now we are inside of it, and we can get a little bit of a better look here. So there's hinges in here, there's hinges right there, and there's more there, and then there's another set at the ankles. So you can imagine, guys, the nightmare it was for me to try and program these things. I literally watched hours of a repeat video of the same thing happening over and over again, which was an AT-AT walking, and it was crazy. But so I'm going to mention, I have some thrusters in here as well. That helps for stability, and the main reason there's constant thrusters on up here right now is because it actually takes a lot of weight off of the legs, which might help with the lag. As well, it just helps with the animation. And then I use thrusters to be able to turn this thing. So let's hop in here. This is another really important thing, actually, was being able to traverse from the back end here, where I could imagine you could have some troops or something all in here, some stormtroopers, I think, and you can actually access the head from the main area as well. So I mean, okay, well, this looks kind of funny, but what this is here is actually the entire setup for the guns on the front right there. You can see there's a couple switches hooked up to those, so we'll be shooting those in a moment, obviously. But the first thing we're gonna do is hop into this seat right here. Now, this is where everything is controlled, and I'll go over the buttons and switches right now. So 1 and 2 is actually you're controlling the sway of the AT-AT walker. So if I press 2, you can see we're actually pushing ourselves to the right like that, and if we press the 1 key, it's going to push us back over to the left. So that assists in staying upright while the thing is walking, and you can actually really use it to your advantage by countering the leg movements as well. So we obviously have, there we go, we got 4, and we got 5, all sorts of guns on the walker, and I took away the feature, like, so before, okay, whoa, it really just launches you at the door there, but I took away a feature that made it so that you could turn the head from side to side. I noticed it was giving a lot of weight issues, so if I was walking and turning the head, it would really just throw things off. So I decided to get rid of that, but I mean, it's pretty sweet, you know, look at that, we can launch ourselves right to this neck and go right through it. So I know what you guys are waiting for. Let's get this thing walking, and we are going to look at each movement here, and we'll kind of, I'll try and explain it a little bit, I suppose, but at the same time, this is not a perfect walker, guys. There are so many joints, and when I mentioned the issue that I was having with the leg movements and the bearings that were all welded together, so I can show you guys here. So some bearings, you can see, I was able to put them in an orientation where they actually went in the same direction, but then some of them I had to crisscross them, and so one of the things that took the longest in this one was actually coordinating all of those bearings and getting them all facing the right way. And you can see there's still some issues every now and then, but I kind of feel like the leg movements are pretty spot on. Now, if you actually watch an AT-AT walker or walk, then you'll notice that the legs don't move like this. They have a different sequence. So it got me thinking about an idea in Scrap Mechanic where it'd be pretty sweet if on a controller, if we just kind of hop up here and we take a look at one of these controllers, it'd be really nice if you could actually select even like a specific circle, right? So say, I mean, maybe it wouldn't work. I guess you'd have to select like an entire column, but if you selected an entire column and changed the speed of this one moment, right? So just imagine that. Everything is doing its thing, and then it gets to one spot right here, for example, and all of a sudden, this little section here would actually be all the way down here for something like that. So basically, what that would achieve, if you actually take a look at the way these legs are walking, a real AT-AT walker, it actually, the moment the first foot hits the ground on the front left, for example, once it hits the ground and starts moving, the entire process of that leg moving, you will actually get all 3 other leg movements in that same moment. So it's literally 1 foot at a time. It goes left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right. And I just can't do it. But like I mentioned, if we could have one section where the leg actually goes into a sequence where you could time it in between each as like a cascade, it would work perfectly. But I digress, because I'm not sure if that is something that's really feasible in this. But I mean, if we take a look at the controllers, you can see there's some interesting movements going on. And obviously the first thing here is setting everything to the standard position once it's off the lift, and basically you can see the hinges go from the main first ones at the hip, and then the second hip hinge there, and then the knee, and then the ankle, and oh my, it took a long time to do this, guys, I'm not gonna lie. But it was definitely a lot of fun. It was one of the most challenging things I've ever done in Scrap Mechanic, I would say, and I mean, it's pretty sweet. I have those thrusters and stuff, but you don't need to use them. The stability of this thing is actually good on its own, and if I utilize the 1 key and the 2 key, look at this, you can see we can actually get some much larger strides coming out of this machine, and it's absolutely awesome. So let's just kind of watch this thing do its special little dance, I guess. Alright, so there we go. Every now and then, I find some of the bearings do bug out a little bit, and that might have been my own fault. I'm not sure if they are proper, but here we go. Now I can show you guys what the turning looks like. So I do kind of like the constant leg movements because it really masks the thruster turning. So if we turn like this, the feet just keep on walking, you know? So as long as the feet are walking, if we turn around like that, it doesn't really throw off the animation, and I find it's quite a slow and steady pace because, I mean, you gotta be honest here, guys. These are not the fastest things in the Star Wars universe, and it might not look like we're, you know, really moving, but, like, we are moving. This thing is actually moving forward right now, and we are getting somewhere. Where? I don't know. What is on this planet anyway? So another fun thing to do with walkers in Scrap Mechanic is tip them over, because sometimes they just don't tip over on their own like this. And so you kind of have to do it yourself. So let's hope that steps right on it. And there we go. Oh, yeah. Come on, AT-AT Walker. Tip over, tip over. All right, yeah, okay. It doesn't even stand a chance. Oh, man, this is pretty funny. I mean, I feel bad for it. You know, I have sympathy for this thing. It's kicking around. But I can definitely use something like this to really examine where some of the faults lie in the steps and adjust some things accordingly, but this thing just looks so sad when it's tipped over, doesn't it? You can definitely get an appreciation for all of the movements, the way they are coordinating together. They're definitely kind of, you know, floppy. They're not the strongest thing. I did use the mod pack as well as the polygon mod pack, and obviously the invisible mod pack in this build, and it turned out really good. So I really hope you guys check this thing out on the Steam Workshop. It was definitely a lot of fun to make, and it was quite a challenge, and obviously there is still room for improvement in this thing, and maybe you guys, if you get it off of the Steam Workshop, maybe you guys can maybe make this a little bit better. Like I said, there's some issues with the bearings, and I suppose with the actual walking sequence as opposed to a real AT-AT walker. Who knows? But that is going to be the episode for today, guys. Before we leave, I'm gonna run to each of these AT-AT walkers and get them walking again, because it's just too ridiculous and so much fun to see it happen. And there they go, guys. Look at that. We have ourselves 3 of these bad boys walking around right now. Oh, poor old Jimmy there is, he's tipped over. He's not having a good time. But these guys... Oh, wait, that one's coming straight for us. I think they don't really have a direction, but I really do love that we can just turn them on and just leave them to their own device. Who knows where they are gonna go, where they're gonna roam on this weird snowy planet, but that was definitely a lot of fun, guys. So if you guys did enjoy this build, then make sure you hit that like button, or let me know down in the comments, guys, and we can even get more Scrap Mechanic on the go. I'm gonna... what? Oh, hello. Okay, he's slowly moving towards us right now. Alright, somebody's gotta babysit these AT-AT walkers. What is going on here? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into Endless Scrap Mechanic. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one, so bye for now.